What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Kaspa today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into it, okay? This one comes to us at the request of Dylan. We're doing this one for you, my friends. So, first and foremost, yes, the price did go down to the areas that we've been calling for months now, right? For months now. From a low to a high, we went below 8.5 cents, which that was the call. As far as how low we would go, I actually didn't expect that we'd go below this low, but it was a possibility, right? We identified this zone the whole way through. I was just confident that we'd go below 8.5 cents. Past that, I didn't know. Here we are going right below the 1414. That's a very common area to find support. You know, oftentimes don't find support right at the 1414, but you go just below it. But sometimes you do find support right at it, or resistance, depending on what direction you're coming in from. And while this is a nice recovery, it is a nice recovery, and that would have been, if you're trying to invest in KAS, that was ideal prices for a short-term time frame. You pumped up 46% from that low. That's phenomenal if you caught the low. Again, if you invested at all throughout this range, that probably wasn't phenomenal. I mean, it's nice to bring you back to the low ends of this range, but you're not getting any gains from that pump, right? You're just at least not losing your ass. I want to before we talk about KAS versus USD, I want to talk about this chart here. This is others versus Kaspa, okay? And what this chart is essentially, and you can see why it's going down. It's almost like an inverse Kaspa chart, right? Whenever others versus Kaspa is going down, that means Kaspa is outperforming the average altcoin in the crypto markets. Whenever this chart is going up, that means Kaspa is getting outperformed by the average altcoin in the crypto markets. Now let's pretend like we didn't even know what this chart was. Let's pretend that this was some random chart. I had no idea what it was, and you just asked me, hey C-Zar, what do you think of this chart? I would look at it and I would tell you, no lie, straight to your face, this is one of the most bullish charts I've looked at this entire year. Genuinely. I don't know why I'm getting choked up, man. I need to drink some water. Where the hell's my water? My wife cleans and she moves my water, but that's okay. That's fine. It's at least she I clean too. Okay, she's not the only one that cleans actually. Okay, but anyways, back to this stuff. Enough about me. Let's talk about you. Rounded bottoms. If you look it up, what's a rounded bottom? What's a saucer? What's a frying pan pattern? It's all the same. They are intense, immense, very bullish long-term changes of trend. Man, I gotta get some water. I don't know what was up with me there. I was dying. I felt like Evan from Bruce Almighty, and Bruce was like pinching my vocal cords there. Anyways, if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then watch that movie. It's a great movie. But that is a very bullish setup. Again, what's bullish for this chart is not bullish for Kaspa. That doesn't necessarily mean Kaspa has to move down. That just means that if Kaspa moves up, the average altcoin is going to move up more. This is an insanely bullish chart. If I was looking at it, I didn't know what it was, I would think that you would go up probably to this zone right here, probably right there at least, if not higher. And that's a lot, man. That's a lot. That means that Kaspa will be outperformed if it goes to where I think it's going to go. It'll be outperformed by an 8x, 700% growth, likely or more from the average altcoin. If you're holding Kaspa and you're expecting to do phenomenal in this bull cycle, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm trying to help you. I want you to make money too. I told you guys, right? I told you that I would not be rubbing it in your face and that I wouldn't say I told you so. That sounds like I just said I told you so. That's not how I meant it to sound. I was trying to say by that, whenever I say I told you, is that when I told you that it would go down here, I was telling you that I did not want to be right. I wanted to be wrong. This whole time I was saying, I hope I'm wrong and you guys get to rub it in my face. I really do. I told you that if this happened, I would not be happy, and I'm not. I'm genuinely not happy. I'm happy that it was so short. I didn't expect it to be a wick like that. I'm happy for that, but my theory is you probably do progress lower, but we'll get to that in a second, okay? I want to focus on this, okay? Kaspa moved up phenomenally, but if you look at the chart, the weekly chart, the average altcoin compared to Kaspa is up 11.4% to Kaspa. Kaspa right now in this week is down 8%. That means while Kaspa had a phenomenal recovery, it's still down 8%. Altcoins are up 11% more than that, which that means then that the average altcoin is in the green this week while Kaspa is red. Okay, so even though it had a phenomenal recovery, it's still down nearly 10% while the average altcoin is neutral if not green. Okay, it is underperforming the markets, and this is just getting started, right? I'm not saying that for the coming weeks that it's just going to go like this. It could, and I actually suspect that it does. But it's possible you could come down. You know, it could still round out, and maybe you have a month or two where Kaspa outperforms the average coin. Maybe it, but if it were to do that, and that's what doesn't make sense to me. If it were to do that, it would have to see new all-time highs. And I don't think it will. I really don't think it will, you guys. And that's not me being a hater. That's me just looking at the charts and being realistic. This is a distributive phase. It's a distributive phase. That's why you slipped like that, right? It's not an accumulation phase. You didn't pump. You dropped. And not only that, on your recovery, you recovered at a lesser pace than the average coin did in the markets. So I'm thinking that here, it's starting now. It's genuinely starting now. You kind of already broken out. You back tested your previous areas of resistance here for support. This is a good, if this was a chart that I didn't know at all, I would be immensely bullish on it right now. I would want to sell everything I have for this thing because it looks like it wants to rip to the upside on a weekly, monthly period, okay? So again, if you're looking to make money in the crypto markets, you're not going to do it with Kaspa. And beyond just my opinion on the charts, which is a very solid opinion, my friends. If we look at Kaspa and we do this, I'm going to guess that any person who's invested in Kaspa who bought up here, I'm going to guess this is your first bull cycle in crypto. Okay, I'm going to guess it is. If you bought some and it's like a small portion, okay, maybe it's not. But if this is a main bag of yours and you bought in this area, I'm going to guess this is your first bull market. And if it is, please hear me out, okay? If it's not your first bull market and Kaspa is your biggest bag, then I guess I'm just an idiot. Don't listen to me, right? But I'm going to take a wild guess. I'm going to step out on a limb here and say, if you bought up here, I'm assuming this is your first bull market. And I'll tell you why I know that, right? Because Kaspa was marketed a lot. Now, everybody heard about it up here, man. Of course you hear about it at its all-time highs. You get all this bullish news, Binance listing, whatever, Kraken listing, and it wasn't a Binance listing, but you had the perpetual swaps or the perpetual, it was basically, you could trade the price of Kaspa without trading Kaspa. Marathon was mining Kaspa. All this bullish stuff happened at the top. It was very clearly a all-time high scenario up here, okay? I'm getting distracted. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So a way that you can tell, and the reason why I was trying to talk to the people who are in their first crypto market, being that this is my third bull cycle, I've noticed some things. I've noticed some trends, okay? And I'm going to try and educate you on what I've noticed. If we go to the market cap and you click on log, you go to maximum time frame on the market cap, you can see that this thing started all the way at a market cap of $7 million, almost $8 million. And in fact, that's August 10th of 2022. I've done the math on this. I've done this so many times that I know whenever it actually came out, I think it was May or June of 2022. That's when we have like the earliest readings on this chart here. The market cap for Kaspa was at $4 million. $4 million, okay? It saw a high in market cap of 4.7 billion. Do you know how much that is? Do you know how much that is? Do you understand how amazing that is? 4 million to 40 million is a 10x. To 400 million is a 100x. To 4.8 billion, you did over a 1,000x Kaspa. Okay? And you think you have more to grow? You think you have more to grow? You did in this chart here on the crypto chart, right? And it actually, I've got June, but I know it came out, the first emissions were actually earlier than that. This thing was moving up essentially for a straight 27 months, if not at least 26 months. I think it was 26 months, if I remember correctly. 26 months, okay? From the doable history that we have here. Yeah, that would have been May of 2022. And this is June, so that would have been May. It was 26 months that you moved up. If we look at Bitcoin, BTC USD, the top performing crypto of the century with one of the most bullish charts you'll ever see in your entire life, this thing, the Mac Daddy of all cryptos, its first bull cycle, all it had, and its bull cycle probably arguably started here at this low, all it had was 18 months. Its second bull cycle, all it had was 24 months. This third bull cycle, it finally got to 28 months. But you know what it didn't have? Its first 2 bull cycles for essentially the first 8 years of its life, decade of its life, it did not have a 26-month bull cycle. That's a long time. That's a long time. And that's why I'm trying to address it to the people who are new to the space, right? You probably didn't consider this. You probably aren't aware. You think things just move up in a straight line forever, and that's why you bought, because you saw this before. And we've all been there. I've been there. We've all been there, man. It doesn't happen, right? The power law that everybody was so adamant about, day in and day out, I was telling you guys that this is not a power law. It's too soon to be assuming that it's a power law. You haven't even had a bear market yet. Why are you calling it a power law? This looks like it's rolling over, which is actually a bad thing, right? And I know power laws, they've got that curve to it, of course, but it's different. This is different, man. And it became noticeably different over here. That's whenever we had this month here, October, that's whenever it became conclusive to me that we were going to see a bear market and that was the all-time high. Because look at any chart that looks like this, that rolls over like this. You have a top that rolls over. It doesn't stop here. I promise you it doesn't stop here. And this video has been less technical analysis, I feel like. There's actually a good bit of technical analysis, to be completely fair. But it's more me just trying to say, and not financial advice, I'm not your financial advisor. But if Kaspa is your biggest bag, I want you to understand you are likely going to underperform the rest of the markets, okay, for the rest of the cycle. And perhaps because you started your bear cycle earlier, you started yours in August, technically, of 2024. Okay, that was the beginning of your bear cycle. You're firmly entrenched in one right now. Even so, because you started it in August 2024, perhaps your bear market ends earlier too. Perhaps you do exactly what you did last time, which is move up during the crypto bear market, right? Maybe that's Kaspa's destiny from here on out. I don't know. But what I certainly do believe to know is that it doesn't stop here. If we take this low to this high from the overall range, okay, the extension's down. The minimum target is 5.7 cents. The maximum target on the first expected area is 4 cents. And it's completely possible to go down to 2 cents, 1 cent, even below 1 cent. And if you don't think I'm right, let me tell you something else, okay? Again, I'm assuming I'm talking to people who are new, because again, I'm assuming the people that bought up here, the people that bought down here, they probably sold up here. So I'm not talking to you, right? You're not watching this video. You've moved on to the next project. Of course you have. You did the smart thing. If you're new, you didn't do the smart thing, and that's not on you. You're not aware. It's okay. You're new. But if you're new, something else that I picked up in my 3 years of doing technical analysis on crypto is that the average, not even the average coin, every single coin that's ever existed in their first bear market ever, they drop over 90%, and oftentimes it's more than 95%. And that doesn't sound like that big of a difference, 90 to 95%, but that's a 90% drop there, okay? 95% from the same high, 95% is all the way down here. Okay, that's a difference between 1 cent and 2 cents. That's a 50% difference, that extra 5%. So I'm not saying that the price has to go here, this low. I'm not saying that it has to stop here. It could go lower. But if we're looking at the charts, we're just looking at it with our eyeballs, where makes the most sense to find support and stop? To me, this area here seems like a nice stable area. You found support or resistance, and you found support afterwards. That's going to be a nice price area, 3.25 cents. Same thing down here. I feel like that's the next kind of legible area, and potentially even right here. Something in this zone. We have a nice kind of even zone. So now we apply our fibs, low to high, and you can see that none of the primary targets are there. So you likely will go below 4 cents. It's inevitable. Where am I going to buy Kaspa? I'm going to buy it below 4 cents. I absolutely will. I'll buy some Kaspa below 4 cents, but probably below 2 cents even. The secondary targets, the 1886 does line up right there. I suspect you will find support here at about 3.25 cents. 3 cents itself, but I don't think it'll last. I think that's just a low to build off of a high or a lower high, and then continue to build lower throughout your bear cycle. Going down here to your 2618, that's all the way down at 1.5 cents. I could see that happening. Your 2272 being at 2 cents, I could see that happening. It's not common, though it happens. It's not common for a crypto during its first cycle to only drop 90%. But sometimes really bullish cryptos, I know this sounds crazy because it's a 90% drop, but sometimes the really bullish ones, they only drop 90%. But they all drop 90% or more. Even Bitcoin did, even all of them. Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Monero, all of them, man. All of your legacy coins, they all dropped, and they're still here. They've got a higher market cap, dramatically higher market cap. They all drop 90+%. Are you going to skim the bottom of that? No. No. And I'm not saying they drop 90% every bear cycle. I'm just saying the first bear cycle that cryptos have, they always drop 90% or more. And likely it's actually 95%. So the 2272, if that to me doesn't make sense, because that's barely hitting 90%, the only next logical area to me would be the 2618 right there at about 1.5 cents. And that's at 93%. That's still on the small end of things. I think it's very possible that you could go below 1 cent itself and go down to about 0.9 cents, right? You could go lower than that. You really could. To think that 95% is where it has to stop, you're going to lie to yourself. But I certainly will start to buy some Kaspa below 1.4 cents, probably even below 1 cent. I'll start loading it up, but I don't expect those prices to happen for months, okay? But I do expect them to happen. This is coming from the same guy that months ago said that the all-time high was in. Months ago, even before that, throughout all this, I was telling you Kaspa will underperform the markets. And the reason we could see this too is Kaspa USD. Just do Kaspa versus BTC. Kaspa BTC here. Nope, we're gonna have to do it on because there's no other charts that have that much historical data. Kaspa versus BTC. Okay. Whenever you look at this chart, we had bearish divergence on the monthly time frame. We had severe bearish divergence on the weekly time frame up here, and you were starting to put in lower highs and lower lows. Back here, you guys, back in February, early 2024, I know, and you can check my videos if you don't believe me. Early 2024, I was telling you that Kaspa would underperform the rest of the crypto market. That maybe it still goes. I wasn't saying the all-time high was in back then, but I was telling you. And so far, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I'm just trying to prove a point. So far, a lot of my predictions have come true. It's taken time, but they're coming true, okay? I'm telling you right now, Kaspa's not going to see new all-time highs. Not this cycle. If it does, it's going to be a fake out, double high, double top, just like Bitcoin did last cycle, and you're going to reject. And I don't suspect that to happen other than one way here. This is how I see it happening, okay? If it were to happen, if you're not starting your bear cycle now, if I was wrong and you're not in your bear cycle, you're just done with your bull cycle, then maybe what you see is some kind of lull. You consolidate here at the lows, maybe even move a little bit lower. And then going into the end of the year, I suspect, like the rest of crypto, you will finale. You'll have a finale finish. Even if you're in your own bear market, you'll probably move up with the rest of the markets. And then you might double top. You might have a true kind of Eve and an Adam double top is what I might expect. Mark my words, it could be an Eve and Adam double top if you return up there. If not, maybe go even a little bit higher. You have a fake out. But Kaspa, mark my words, you guys, it's not going to break 30 cents this cycle. It's not going to break 26 cents this cycle. It's at 10 cents now. That's pathetic. I'm not saying that you're pathetic. I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying Kaspa's pathetic because it's a great technology and I think it's got a room. I think it's got a lot of room to grow in the future. I think it really is an interesting project. But a 2 to 3x for the rest of the year for the crypto cycle, that's pathetic. You could put money into, you could probably, I guess not. I was about to say, you could put money into USDC and probably get a better return on your APY, but that's only 4% or 4.5%. So not really. That's not true. But I want it to be true to make the point, but it's not true. And that's only the best case scenario, what I just described. That's only the best case scenario. Likely what you're going to do is you're going to start rolling over. You're just going to start rolling over, but we'll see. I feel like I've made my point. I don't think I need to say anything else. If you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'm not happy about this, guys. I'm really not, right? There's plenty of times where I'm right and I am happy. I'm ecstatic about it. There's times when I'm wrong and I'm ecstatic about it. This is one of those times where I'm right and I'm not happy about it, but I'm being loud right now so that maybe now that some of the stuff that I've been saying for months has come to fruition, maybe now you'll listen a little bit more. Maybe you'll hear me, okay? 8 years of technical analysis here. Third bull cycle. If this is your first cycle, maybe it's worth listening to. I don't know. That's my thoughts. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.